If you ask my coaches, they will probably say that my biggest strength in table tennis is my block game. Both that I'm safe, but also that I'm very fast between backhand and forehand, no matter if I know where the ball will come or not. So that's why this video is perfectly suited. It's a full guide on how to block in table tennis. We will start out with how to backhand block, move on to how to forehand block, and finish with how to block when you have no idea where the ball will come. Let's start. The basic when you backhand block is to always hit the ball straight in front of your body, or more exactly your belly button. So to do this, what's most important is that your legs work all the time. You should never reach for the ball, anything at all. So if the ball just move a little bit, it's enough with 2-3 centimeters, your legs need to work all the time. So it's important to always, when you block, but always when you play table tennis, have your legs bent, be on your toes, and be ready and make small movements if the ball moves a little bit, because it's the legs who make sure that you stand correct to every ball, no matter if it's a little bit difference or if the ball moves maybe 30, 40, 50 centimeters. Something else that's very important in the backhand block is to be relaxed and calm, because when you're relaxed, you don't feel your opponent's spin and power as much. But when you finish the movement, you can be a bit more stiff. So the ball comes, you are relaxed, and then you make a short movement normally in the block. You can do more, you can do almost nothing. And right in the ball contact, you grip your racket a little bit harder, but not like super stiff, but a little bit. So you go from very relaxed to a little bit stiff. A big mistake many people do is that they block, and then the opponent do a harder attack, and they do something fast, uncontrolled. When your opponent go harder, you need to stay calm, make sure to be relaxed and come behind the ball. You cannot go harder just because the ball comes harder. I would say that normally you should even do the opposite. If the opponent goes slow, you can do a bit, but when the ball comes really fast, you only need to put your racket behind the ball, and you will have enough speed by only the power from your opponent. There's also some mistakes to do with the distance from the body you hit the ball. For example, you should not reach too much after it, but you cannot hit the ball too close to your body either. There is no exact correct answer where you should hit the ball, but it should be something around this distance from the body to be as safe and controlled as possible. Another thing is how late to take the ball, and I will recommend to take the ball pretty early when you block. Myself, I try to take it not direct on the bounce because it's very difficult, but just on the way up a little bit. If you take it super late, you will give a very easy ball for your opponents. Of course, sometimes you have no choice, you get back from the table and you just want to save it. But for example, in exercise, or try to get in to the table and take the ball early. Maybe around where the edge on the table is when you block. But just like with the distance from your body, there is no correct answer that it's better to block here than here. Okay, if you block it earlier, it will be harder for your opponent, but maybe you have more control if you take it 20 centimeters later. So it's up to you, but that's my advice on this one. And the last thing when it comes to the backhand block is the angle of the racket. And the angle of the racket is completely up to what your opponent is doing. So if your opponent is making more spin, you need a closer racket angle. If your opponent do less spin, you need a more open racket angle. And of course, this is something you will get used to by practice. It can be difficult when you play a new opponent or you're not sure how much he or she do. But if you play the ball into the net, it normally means that your racket is too close. If you put the ball too far out from the table, it normally means that you have a too open racket angle. So by your mistakes, you can learn and see what you did wrong and try to improve it to the next time. Okay, so let's move on to the forehand block. And just as when you block backhand, it's one specific position where you want to hit every ball, which means that just as in the backhand block, it's the feet who are the number one to make sure that you stand correct to every ball. And when you play your forehand block, you want to hit the ball a little bit at the side of your body. Not far away from you, just a little bit, not straight in front of you. So around here. And it's also very important to make sure you always hit the ball a bit in front of you. So when you make the forehand block, you cannot go back with your arm, 1, because it takes a lot of time, and 2, because it's a risk that you will hit the ball behind you. So try to always make sure to move your feet to hit every ball a little bit to the side of you and a little bit in front of you. Of course, don't over-exaggerate so you hit the ball super far in front of you, just a little bit so it looks around this. Another thing is that you don't move your arm in the forehand block. Many people do the mistake that they play forehand block like this, where they use the arm instead of the body. And it's 2 reasons why this is a problem. 1 is because you will be slower, you lose speed, but also your arm is weak and you don't have the same control as you have with the body. So make sure that you turn up the body a little bit and then turn it back a little bit so you end up in your start position. Don't go back too much, as I said, because you want to be fast and you want to hit the ball in front of you. So just rotate your body a little bit and make sure that it's not the arm working. Another thing that's related to this is that you will not drop your racket, because you want to stay high all the time, since you're not needed to go down to create any spin or to create any power. Just stay up to be as fast as possible when you make the forehand block, just as you do when you make your backhand block. Before we move on, how to be as fast and good as possible in the block when you don't know where the ball comes, I just want to say that if you're interested by getting more help of me to improve as a table tennis player, I have a community where I put more tutorials, answer your personal questions, and have live group calls where I can give you all the answers to the questions you want. And you can find this community in a link in the description. So just join it for free if you want to improve more by my help. Now we have the basics. We know how to block backhand, we know how to block forehand, and we are going to the more advanced, but also what will help you to be a better table tennis player in matches thing. And that's how to be good in your defense, in your block game, when you don't know where the ball will come. And we start out with what I think is most basic tip. And that's to have the racket in the middle. Because if you're ready with the racket with backhand, you will be very slow on balls in forehand, and the other way around. You cannot wait here, you cannot make a forehand block and then stay here, because you have no chance to reach the ball there. So always have the ball in the middle to be ready on everything. Another thing that's very important is to keep your eyes up, because if the ball comes to my forehand and I follow it with my eyes and come back, it will take a lot of time. I will not be fast, I will not be ready for the next ball. Instead, okay, I can do a short look, but just very short in that case, but keep your eyes on, I would say, your opponent's racket, because it's the racket who will decide the direction of the ball. You could watch your opponent, but many opponents try to do tricky things with their body to fool you. So I would say keep your eyes on the ball, on your opponent's racket, to be as fast and ready as possible. And here is a thing we talked about before in the video, but it's even more important now. It's the legs who do the work when we block. We will never reach for the ball and we don't know where the ball will come, and it's so easy that you see the ball, it comes and you reach for it. Instead, have your brain in your feet. I try to think, okay, when the ball comes, I try to move my legs to make sure that I stand right to every ball, because with backhand I always want to hit it straight in front of me. With forehand I always want to hit it little bit to the side, but we never want to reach for it. So it's the legs who do the work to make sure we come correct to every ball. Another thing to be faster is to never drop the racket. I said it before in the forehand, but we need to keep the racket high all the time to be as fast as possible, because we don't have much time. We don't know if the opponent will play hard or slow. We don't know where it will be, so we need to be as fast as possible and just keep it high to react and save the ball. And together with keeping the racket high to be fast, we don't want to go back anything. And as I said before, we don't go back with the arm. We want to be fast. So we just go little bit back on the forehand, but nothing with the arm, just a short way with the body to make sure we are fast. Another thing to get fast, because in the block, when we don't know where the ball comes, it's all about, okay, reading the game and being as fast to it as possible without making any fast, uncontrolled movements. And to make this, we need to be relaxed, because a stiff body is not as explosive as a relaxed body. So we want to be relaxed, but ready to be really, really explosive. Think like a boxer, like you're relaxed, you're ready, but you don't do much, and then something happens, and you're explosive to be ready to make the hit in their case, and just to block the ball in our case. So there we go. Here was my full guide at how to improve at blocking. I hope you enjoyed it and that we will see each other next time.